Hello and welcome to the European Circle report. Last week, the Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy and his Italian counterpart Mario Monti met at a government summit meeting in Madrid. They discussed the debt crisis that severely affects Spain and Italy and tried to reach common ground on a solution to the euro crisis. The bilateral meeting was also attended by members of the cabinet and political representatives of both nations. The two leaders stressed that the European Union will pursue a common line on the financial issues that currently challenge it. This means both countries will pursue deficit reduction targets, whilst also trying to stimulate their stale economies with investment packages. They also argued against the EU Commissioner's proposal of placing national budgets under the scrutiny and control of the Union. Instead, Spanish Prime Minister Rajoy has called for a complete package of an economic, fiscal and banking union throughout the European Union. Rajoy made clear during the summit that his country was not yet willing to succumb to a bailout by the European Union. He told the press that Spain was not yet prepared to purchase bonds from the European Central Bank, a line which the Italian Prime Minister also took regarding his own country's economic insecurity. Monti, however, indicated that Spain and Italy should soon ask the European Central Bank on its position in the matter. The two still praised the existence of the bank, stating that it strengthens confidence in the euro. Although they aren't quite ready to buy bonds with the European Central Bank, both ministers welcome the new Banking Supervisory Board. The implementation of the new board may exempt a burden of the two countries' debts, should they choose to capitalise their banks. Environmental ministers of the European Union met in Luxembourg to discuss a common position for the 18th session of the UN Climate Change Convention, which will take place at the end of November in Doha. The ministers agreed that they will fight to ensure all elements of the 2011 conference discussions, which took place in Durban, should be reinforced to make further progress. In many areas, such as the issue of how much Europe should limit greenhouse gas emissions by 2013, the EU's member states have been at odds with one another. On October 25th, a European Council meeting on EU-Asylum legislation took place. The Justice and Home Affairs Ministries of the European Union agreed on a directive that lays down new standards related to the welcoming of asylum seekers to the European continent. This will ensure better and more unified standards of living for refugees within the Union. The directive comes in the form of one of the legislative acts in a package known as the Common European Asylum Law. Objectives of the package include a Europe-wide synchronization of this asylum legislation and the introduction of a common policy towards asylum seekers. According to the European Council, this common asylum law package will be put into effect throughout Europe by the end of 2012. Whilst the admissions policy will be discussed in October, asylum applicants have been assured that they will receive exactly the same rights in all EU countries, regardless of where asylum is sought. The new rules of the directive include an amendment to the rights of asylum seekers when under detention. The directive asks for clearer rules on free legal representation and advice, whilst seeking faster access to the labour market for refugees. The wait time for asylum applicants will now be less than 9 months, which will allow for faster integration and self-sufficiency for newcomers on European soil. It will also help to support the more vulnerable groups of refugees. Minors and those who have been victims of torture or other forms of violence will be especially cared for according to the directive. In this regard, it has asked for a better process to identifying the needs of victims and their rights to mental health care. Once the directive has been adopted by the European Parliament, a full implementation of its rules should be made within 2 years. That was the European Circle report for this week. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.